Evans doesn't realize it's Brady's 600th, okay?
Mm-hmm.
And so Mackey says there's a debate in his house because what happened with Evans is he tossed the ball into the crowd to a fan. So they had to get a staffer from the Tampa Bay Bucs, and they're playing at home, so that helps. A staffer from the Bucs go over to the front row and say, hey, we need that ball. Brady wants it. It's 600. Can he have the ball? Now, Mackey tweeted out, there's a debate in his house. If you caught a ball or a puck or some significance, what's a fair ask? Now, I don't know if the guy asked. It still remains unclear if the guy asked for it, if this was just the first offer, and he said, okay, that's fine. The person in the front row who caught that ball, because, again, Evans didn't realize it and just pitched it up into the crowd. The person who got the ball, they gave a different game ball to.
Okay.
They gave a signed Brady jersey to. And they gave a $1,000 gift card credit to the Tampa Bay team store.
Okay.
So then he could buy 1 million Tom Brady jerseys. So that happened. And the guy said, sure, here's your ball. Let's make that fair trade. So the question on the table is this, 412-928-9370. Something of significance like that, what is the fair trade? And people are going to think I'm nuts. They are going to absolutely think I'm nuts. But I jumped on this right away as Jason and I were conversing about this. I promise you 1,000%, 1,000,000%. For me, I mean this. It's nothing. It isn't my accomplishment. It's the person who accomplished. I would just give it to them. If you want to give me something, I'll accept it. But I'm not, it's their accomplishment. Now, for something gigantic, like the Bonds home run ball or whatever that set the record or whatever, I just want to be the person who actually gives that to them because I don't want to work through an intermediary because I don't want to trust that intermediary is going to be the person that then puts something worth $750,000 in their pocket, gives them a phony ball, and then be in the middle of some sort of, all right, this wasn't authenticated, it was authenticated. I would say to the security person, whoever, that's fine, you can have it. But I need to hand this to Barry Bonds. I need to hand this to Tom Brady because I want to know for my own knowing that I gave it to that person. I don't want some ball boy or some assistant trainer or whatever taking the ball and then thinking they could.
It's a good idea. Actually.
But like something like this, 600. I don't know how much it's worth. I would just say, here, all right, that's fine. Here's Brady's ball. It's his. And there are people that came at me that are like, you are ridiculous. Or you're a liar because it would be worth. Why wouldn't you cash in? You're lying if you were facing $500,000. Sometimes you got to do the right thing.
Oh,
and the right thing is it's not mine.
I don't know about those people, but I'll tell you, this is the way I look at it. If I were in that situation, first of all, if I was just there with friends and my kids weren't there or nobody's kids were around, I probably would take the ball. And if somebody came up and said, "Hey, that's Brady's 600th. Can we get it?" I'd be like, "Oh yeah." And look, maybe that's being jaded from covering sports. I don't know what it is, but I just don't place any special significance on that ball. If it's Brady's 600th touchdown, for example, doesn't help that I'm not a huge Tom Brady fan either. But anyway, I'd hand it over. Now, if it were my kids, this is where I'd get it would get a little squirrely, but I wouldn't sit there and negotiate or anything. For example, if Mike Evans throws it up into the stands and my kid catches the football, and then they say, "Hey, it's Tom Brady's 600th touchdown. Would you mind?" I'd be like, "All right, just get, like they did in Tampa. Can you just get me a different football? Like, could you do that? Because he's really excited because he caught a football. He doesn't really care that it's Brady's 600th. He just wants the football. Can we get a different football maybe?" Bang, get him the football. Here's Brady's 600th, and we're on. Like, I'm not going to sit there and negotiate and be like, well, I want club seats, and I want this. No, here's your football.
Now, Ravel's saying it's between $400,000 and $500,000, this ball. Okay? Now, that for me is, here's the thing, because I think you run the risk of making yourself, on top of it not being mine, you run the risk of making yourself look like a fool. Because what you said, well, I'm holding out. Okay. And Brady says, I'm worth like $1 billion. I don't need the ball. I'm not paying you anything. And then you're the guy that tried to hold somebody hostage for what was theirs anyway.
Well,
that to me is like the whole principle of the thing is, here's your ball, your accomplishment, your career. You did it. I had nothing to do with it. Here you are.
Well, I do understand the concept that there's a memorabilia market and collectors are going to have a price on it. And for someone who's into that, look, hey, if you happen to be handed Tom Brady's 600th touchdown ball, then by all means, you instantly know this thing's going to be worth so much money, and you want to keep it, and you want to sit there and negotiate. That's your right to do so if you want to. I have never been huge into that stuff, into that market. Like, I got a couple signs up in the basement from different venues, and that's it. I don't have a whole lot of autograph stuff or memorabilia, but I do get that there are people that are like that. And, hey, I got Tom Brady's 600th touchdown ball. Look at this. And they would ask for something for it. I wouldn't have the time or the energy, to be quite honest, to sit there and haggle back and forth with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers over Tom Brady's football.
Cody, Murraysville. Cody, good morning. You're on the Fan.
Hey, guys, good morning. Yeah, I just wanted to kind of go over what I would do in that situation. If I get that ball, I'm definitely going to give it back, but I want to negotiate at least Tom coming over at the end of the game, jersey off the back, signed with the picture. I think that jersey will be worth just not as much, but it'll be up there in the later days. So that's what I would do.
I like that idea because you get a personal experience out of it, right? Like, you get to meet Tom Brady and shake his hand and take a picture with him. I have no problem with that whatsoever.
Absolutely. Thanks, guys.
Yeah, I look at no, not a problem. I just look at this situation like, oh, all right, now it might be different if I'm a college kid, I don't have any money, and that's an opportunity to cash in. And I could see, look, everybody's free to make the decision they want to make. I just would feel like I was cashing in on something that really wasn't mine. Things happen like that all the time. You know, you play the lottery and you cash in or whatever. You could say, well, I went to that game. There was a chance that he was going to throw for 600, and I was sitting there on purpose, you know, and there was a chance I could get that ball, and it would be worth that. So it wasn't necessarily all the way by happenstance.
But, see, I look at it as if I go, 10-8 in my picks on a given weekend, I'm making a little bit of money. I'm cashing in essentially on the work of other people. Yeah, I did some cursory research and watch enough football that I made the picks based on my knowledge. So, yeah, I guess I did some work, but they're the ones that played the game and threw the ball and scored the touchdown or hit the home run or hit the three or whatever it was at the buzzer. So it's not so much that I'm cashing in on someone else's accomplishment. That part doesn't necessarily sit funky with me. It's just the fact that I can't imagine being in a spot where I would sit there and haggle back and forth. I just, like, if I wanted something for it, I would say, okay, I got Tom Brady's 600th ball and you want it. What can you get me for it? Then they would offer, probably like they did with his family in Tampa, your $1,000 Pro Shop gift card and a signed football and a jersey. And I'd be like, okay, that's fine.
Well, even if they said to me, hey, we need that ball. That's Tom Brady's 600th ball. Can you throw it down here? Mm-hmm. And there was nothing coming back in return, I'd say, okay, here you go.
Yeah.
Here you are. It's because I just don't feel like it's mine at all. At all. But I'll tell you one thing that this does. If you go and you look at the debate on this on social media, you look at the debate that people I've had debates with my friends on text messaging. There is a wide-ranging gamut of people who go everywhere from where I am with it. Here you go. It's Brady's ball. It's not mine. Man, what a great career from the guy. I think he's a cheater. But here's your ball. It means something to you. From that, all the way is to, hell no, screw you. I'm putting it in my pocket, under my shirt. I'm leaving, and you can call me, and we'll talk about it with an attorney present and all of that. Like, it runs the gamut, this debate.
It does, because, and look, I understand that line of thinking. I have an old high school friend who owns a memorabilia shop, and everything is an investment. Everything. And everything has an intrinsic value to it, and the greater that value is, then the more you can capitalize on that value. I get it. It's a legit market. And so I've never been into that
How
market.
about this? Hey, Tom, listen. I'm from Pittsburgh. I have a radio show. There's this Spygate stuff that we're going to have to talk about to make a couple people feel better. Let's say that you come on this radio show and you come clean, if you will.
That's a hell of an idea, actually. I am keeping that in mind. The next time if I ever catch an important ball of some sort.
Well, Tom Brady needs to be involved. How about producer pastor, the most honest man that's ever walked in this building, producer Matt. Matt, you're that guy. You catch the ball. What do you do? Because you're the most honest guy that I know, almost to a fault sometimes. You have no enemies. So what would you do?
I do like the idea of being able to meet him. I would want to say, can I bring the ball back and get to meet, Tom Brady, talk to him, whatever? Because there's a good chance that Brady's not going to come empty-handed. There's a good chance he's probably going to bring a jersey or a ball or something
Always wanting
if he
something.
knows that he's going to meet you.
How about this? I just saw Ravel tweet this as well.
Okay.
They're trying to come up with a better way to compensate the fan now because they found out how much the ball is worth, and I guess the Buccaneers are looking in how to better compensate the fan is the verbiage he used, who gave up Tom Brady's.
This guy's going to be dressed up in a pirate costume on that pirate ship next year.
He's going to get a new house out of the deal.
Right. He's going to be living in that pirate ship during games with 100 of his friends.
You get to spend a weekend in Tom Brady's guest room.
Well, didn't somebody spend a weekend in that Tampa soccer stadium, and it happened to be a hobo, and he got arrested?
That's right.
Wasn't that not long
You get
ago?
to be like AB and live with Tom Brady for a week.
Speaking of, I asked this question on Twitter. Like,
Yeah,
what would
hear
you
it.
ask for? And somebody said AB back. That's what I would ask for.
Well, should the league step in? Because
No. What are they going to do though? They're going to the fans already given the ball.
and compensate the guy some more. Should they sweeten the pot?
They got bigger fish to fry in Washington with emails.
Man, I don't. You're right though. If Tom Brady could come up off it again, it wouldn't be. But if he was able to withstand Antonio Brown living with him, he could come up off $100,000 for something.
Would you ask for that? Would you ask? Can I stay in your guest room for a night, Tom? Just hang out, watch film with you.
Good on the guy though. Good on the guy that it didn't. But I honestly mean this. I wouldn't be handing something worth so much to some lackey I didn't know. Like I wouldn't give it to some ball boy
I think
or
that's
some assistant trainer.
That's a very good point. To be quite honest, I'd never thought of. If I had caught something of some importance in the stands, I would then want to directly hand it to that person.
Because think about it, like even here, the Mazeroski jersey, whatever. Mm-hmm. 2 different people are said to have had it.
Right.
There's different balls and different memorabilia things over time where, no, I have it. No, this is the real one. There was no authenticator at the time. Like, no, I'm in command of it just so I know for my peace of mind, here you go. This is yours.
That's fair.
I handed it to him, and I'd grab the AP photographer, whoever, Matt Freed or whoever. Take a picture of me handing this to him so that we know.